Democratic 2020 contender Senator Liz Warren tonight says Republicans are scared of President Trump. But she hopes some more Senate Republicans will break ranks and defy the president when it comes to the border barrier. This as Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says the two sides are talking despite the two failed votes today. Senator Rick Scott is a Republican from Florida. Great to have you with us tonight.
It's great to be here. This place is messed up.
Well, listen, we were talking, you're used to being an executive in private business and also as the chief executive of the state of Florida. What's it like to come here and face what you're in the middle of now?
It's dysfunctional. You just think about it. Almost everybody you talk to say they want to open up government. Mm-hmm. They all say they want border security. Mm-hmm. Then why don't they do it? I mean, nothing's happening. I hope that with these votes today that Majority Leader McConnell is sitting down with Chuck Schumer and they're going to get something done. We have to get it for the American public. We have 800,000 people not working. We had a bill on Thursday I thought was going to pass that would pay our Coast Guard. Now stop and think about it for a second. They cannot quit their jobs, and we're not paying them. It's one thing you have other people not getting paid. They can go stop. Right? They can go stop and get another job. Coast Guard can't. They're part of the military. And Chuck Schumer stopped it.
Well, why do you think that isn't breaking through? Because we all know there are real people who are being impacted. When you talk about people who are serving in dangerous capacities all over this country, there's word tonight that there is a group of bipartisan senators who are meeting and are talking. Mitch McConnell referenced that tonight. He said at least we're talking. It's supposed to be about 16 of them. Are you one of them? Do you know about the conversations they're having?
There's conversations going on, but these sides have just gotten cleared here and there. So I'm hopeful that we're going to see a breakthrough. Hopefully, hopefully tonight or tomorrow, we'll get something going. But we've got to open up government. We've got to. I think here's my frustration. We know we have to secure the border. Why are we doing it 1 year at a time? Let's just do a permanent fix. I believe we ought to take care of the DACA kids, fix TPS permanently. Do it now so we're not doing it in 3 months and next year.
Well, that's what Democrats have said they wanted to, but when the president put that, and it went to the floor today for a vote, that package didn't make it.
No, it's frustrating. It just seems like it's all politics and who wins, who saves face. This is about the American public doing the right thing, keeping people safe. As governor, you have 3 jobs. Get people a job, get their kids a good education, and make sure everybody's safe. You can live in a safe community. The border is part of that. I mean, if we can't have drugs coming across, we can't have other things happening. We have to keep it safe. I got a briefing this week from Homeland Security, and I talked to Secretary Nielsen today. We just went through what do we need to do permanently. Let's do it. Let's don't wait.
Would you vote for a 3-week CR, clean or one, as the president and Sarah Sanders said today from the White House, has to have a large down payment on the wall? I mean, Democrats didn't seem like they were for that either.
Well, here's what's frustrating. How can you do that when you have Pelosi saying, I'm not going to provide any funding? Mm-hmm. So that's not a real negotiation. And so the Democrats are saying no funding. So why would you do what would help you to do a 3-week or 2-week continuing resolution if they're not going to negotiate?
Well, Donna Brazile told our Dana Perino today that Pelosi may be working on something to present. Although we've heard that's not coming, it'll be interesting to see what does come to fruition.
They're not even in town.
Well, that's true. She says some of them are, but she's not going to be. While we have you, though, I want to ask you about Venezuela because you've been a very outspoken voice on this. We want to put up a map we have of the number of countries who are supporting and those who are supporting Maduro and those who are supporting the new opposition leader who is being viewed by the U.S. as the interim president there. A lot of violence, lives have been lost. Where do we go from here?
Well, first off, I want to thank the president. We had the opportunity with the president of the National Assembly, Juan Guaido, to declare him as the interim leader, and we did. I'm glad we did that. We need to go further. We need to declare Venezuela a state of terrorism. We need to stop oil shipments because that's the money that's paying the military. So we've got to put as much maximum pressure on now. If we want to save people's lives, get them back to a democracy, we've got to do everything we can. I want to thank every country that is stepping up like America did and saying we're going to recognize the new interim leader, and he needs to follow the Constitution and call elections.
Your message, though, to Maduro has told our diplomats to get out. We understand non-emergency personnel, U.S. personnel is being evacuated. Your message to him regarding the safety of our U.S. diplomats there and of this opposition leader as well.
We need to keep everybody safe, and America needs to be part of that. We've got to keep our diplomats safe, but they need to stay there. They are recognized by the new leader, and they need to stay there. But Shannon, think about this for a second. You know, these Democrats talk about socialism, how it's fair. Yeah, it's fair. Everybody's broken socialism. We see that in Venezuela. This was a thriving country. It was, but now these Democrats, they ought to go down there. They ought to do a fact-finding mission. You know, go down there and spend a little while and see what's happened to people with socialism.
And they've got great natural resources, but management of that, of course, becomes the key. Senator, I almost called you governor, but you've been that too. Senator Scott, thanks for coming in. Good to see you tonight.
Thanks.
For more on the shutdown, let's bring in White House Deputy Press Secretary Hogan Gidley. Hogan, good morning to you.
Good morning.
So the Senate and the House are back in session today. What are the president's expectations for when the Senate takes up his latest proposal?
Well, his expectations are clear. He wants an open government and secure borders. And right now, the Senate looks to move on a bill potentially on Thursday for a vote. We have a humanitarian crisis along our southern border. We have a national security crisis along that border as well. He put forth a common sense plan that used things that the Democrats wanted, included that in the plan, and we want to secure the government. And right now, Democrats refuse to come to the table at all. You just played, or just showed, I should say, a tweet from Nancy Pelosi, and she won't even have a conversation with the president. She was very clear that if we did everything the Democrats wanted, if we voted for every piece they wanted, then they'd talk to us about what we wanted. And when the president put that forward to her as a proposal, fine, I'll open the government and do whatever you want. Will you have a conversation with me about border security? She said one word, no. And that's where we stand right now.
If, and I keep saying this is a big if that Senate accord was to make it through both chambers, does Mitch McConnell have the blessing of the president that he will indeed sign that?
Well, that's a big if. We don't know what the final bill would look like, but the president has been clear about what he wants. That's why we took the initiative and put forth a proposal that was signed off on by so many Democrats, at least pieces of it, of what they wanted. Up to and included, we changed the actual materials that the wall would be made out of. So many Democrats in the past voted for steel barriers. That's why we put the language in there, so that when Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama and Joe Biden and Chuck Schumer all voted for it, they'd be willing to vote for it again. But until this time, there's only really one thing that's changed, and that's Donald Trump is in the White House. They're playing politics with people's lives here. It's dangerous for the country, and there are 800,000 federal workers that by midnight tonight, if a deal is not reached, they are guaranteed to miss a second paycheck in a row. That's unacceptable. Democrats have to come to the table to work with us to fix it.
And we know that Nancy Pelosi has made the suggestion to the president that he should not publicly deliver his State of the Union address next Tuesday. What is going to happen, Hogan?
Well, we have no announcement at this time, but Nancy Pelosi does not dictate to the president when he will or will not have a conversation with the American people. The State of the Union address is set up so the president can explain just what's going on with our government and just what's going on around the globe. The president has an incredible story to tell about how far we've come in this country economically, in a national security capacity. All of those things are impacting Americans positively, and when we have an announcement on that, we'll let you know. But Nancy Pelosi is trying to play politics with that venue.
If she maintains the invitation, which she has not completely taken the invitation off the table, but she's made a suggestion that he does not deliver that on the House floor, what's the president's plan B there? How would he deliver it, or where would he deliver it?
There are many ways he can deliver the State of the Union address. I'm not going to get ahead of anything he would announce. But the fact is, you just pointed out, she has not canceled it. She asked us to postpone it, and she did that without any input from national security. In fact, she even said that Secret Service couldn't protect the speech, which is absolutely ridiculous. If the Secret Service can protect the President of the United States on a trip to Iraq, chances are they can protect the American president in the halls of Congress.
You know, we came to expect those afternoon briefings, press briefings from the White House every day almost. That came to an end. Is there, and the last we checked, there has not been one held this year, Hogan. Is there any plans to start that back up again, or see Sarah Sanders back up at the podium?
She's going to come back when she finds a reason to do that, because so often, it's so funny, because the media often tell us that when Sarah Sanders stands right behind me at this podium, why can't we hear from the president? We need to hear more from the president. So we put the president out. He speaks to the media every day, and then they say, why can't we hear from Sarah Sanders? It's kind of ridiculous. You can't win for losing half the time. But the fact is, when the president isn't going up, we have a conversation about the message we deliver, and Sarah Sanders will absolutely be back at this podium talking to the press and delivering the message to the American people.
But no definitive date on that?
I'm sorry?
No definitive date yet on that beginning?
No, it's not that they've ever stopped. It's just that sometimes we see a need to come to the podium and communicate things, and sometimes we don't. A lot of times when we don't come to the podium, it's because the president has addressed the American people himself, whether it's on the way to Marine One. I mean, he's the most accessible president in history, and most of the media in this room will tell you that. So it doesn't necessarily mean Sarah Sanders needs to be at this podium every day when the president himself is talking to the American people.
A couple other big items to get to. The latest from Covington, the schools shut down today after this confrontation. The media portrayed it one way. It was discovered that it wasn't the way that played out. The president feels very passionately about this. He's tweeting. It's captivated the attention of the world. He suggested it could end in a dream. Has he reached out to any of those high school students?
Not that I'm aware of at this point, but this whole situation is emblematic of a dangerous situation that does exist here. When the media rushes to get it first and not get it right, this is the type of thing that happens out there. I mean, these children, their lives are completely affected by this and will be for the foreseeable future. The school, as you mentioned, is shut down, has received bomb threats, have received school shooting threats. And it's one of those instances where you look at one piece of video and everyone jumps to one conclusion. And then when you see the entirety of the video, you realize it wasn't exactly what the initial report said. That's dangerous.
So what's the president's thinking on
this
morning? Have you had a chance to talk to him about it?
I haven't talked to him directly about this, but he's tweeted this again directly to the American people, that this is a situation that's dangerous for those out there because so many in the media, again, jump to get it first and not right. That's something that has to change. You saw that with the BuzzFeed news over the weekend as well. So it's been a rough overall week for the media. When the president says that fake news is the enemy of the people, this is those examples that he points to show that.
I've got to ask you finally about this BuzzFeed report. In the latest on it being shot down by Robert Mueller, we have learned that the president's legal team, Rudy Giuliani, had an exchange with Robert Mueller and his team. What was the extent of the conversations there?
I don't know the extent of the conversation. What I can tell you is what I said on your program actually last week that I was mocked and derided for, that the president hasn't done anything wrong here. And, of course, the facts bear out that. When the special counsel releases a statement and shows the report to be completely false, based on someone who is a convicted felon, defrauded the government out of millions of dollars, and is also a self-admitted liar, you've got a problem when everybody in the country, in the mainstream media, runs with that from morning till night with no corroboration whatsoever, even from the author itself. So that's the situation we find ourselves in. It's dangerous, and it's got to change moving forward.
But obviously there was this exchange. Rudy Giuliani, the legal team of the president, was in communication with Robert Mueller before he debunked the story.
Right, but Rudy Giuliani has addressed all this. I refer you to him for anything further. But the president has maintained the fact he's done nothing wrong here. There's no collusion. We've been in this for 2 years, and I think the American people want this wrapped up. In fact, the majority of them now say that this is seen as a politically motivated witch hunt, and that's a problem.
All right, we're up against a hard break here. Hogan Gidley, we got to a lot. Thank you.
Thanks so much for the time.